All right, so it's late at night. No, over here's 11 o'clock. I was just scrolling through YouTube. I've been post, I've been posting like a couple months, man. I've been posting a couple months, and it's late. I thought like, what better not to do than react to a scary story? You know what I'm saying? Give my honest feedback, but before y'all jump in the comments roasting my head, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. I don't know what this channel's really gonna be about. I'm basically just testing the water with a bunch of stuff, but also being authentic and genuine. So with that being said, dang, my hairline really that bad? Yo, I'm not even that old yet, bro. So with another thing, I don't think I'ma edit. I don't know how to edit. I can always learn. Probably because I'm lazy, but I'm not going to. Maybe down the road when I start growing a little more, but let's get into it. Mm, Spooky.
Since
Should I turn the lights
2017,
off?
a YouTuber
Should I
named
turn the
Phil
lights
has
off?
been uploading videos of his hiking trips to his channel Hike Slam, where he gives his viewers a glimpse into everything he does to prepare for a long hike, camp alone in the middle of the woods, choose the right hiking gear, and pretty much everything related to the outdoors. On the night before Thanksgiving 2021, Phil went on an overnight hike to camp on the Appalachian Trail near his
I'll
house
make
in
it just a
Virginia.
little louder.
For the first half hour of his hike, things kick off pretty normally, but after a
I
while,
don't
he
know.
finds some odd looking trash lying on the side of the trail. Strangely, there appears to be some writing on some of the containers he finds, which appear to be song lyrics, though it's hard to imagine why anyone would go through the trouble of writing out entire songs or poems on a plastic container only to later throw it on the side of the trail.
That's already
As he
weird right
crosses the
there,
boundary into
dude.
the wilderness, things continue to get stranger and stranger, and as
That's your sign to go back home, dude. You don't. If you're going camping, don't go camping alone. You cannot go camping alone, bro. But
he nears the campsite, Phil finds another series of disturbing notes.
The weirdness continues. What the?
what?
And there's a dead duck.
You gotta leave, bro. You gotta leave. Just go back home, bro. Get in your warm bed. Watch a little TV, bro. You don't need to be doing this.
Here.
Some of the notes appear to contain cryptic poems, others seem to talk about pretty in-depth conspiracy theories and undercover federal agents or something, and the rest appear to be biographical, with whoever wrote them telling parts of their story. It's tough to confirm if the person who wrote the notes was the same person who killed the duck, but honestly, it would be too much of a coincidence for the dead duck to be lying right there next to the series of creepy notes, which were obviously placed there recently considering they're in good
Yeah, I
condition
feel
and
like
not
that was
wet.
intentional.
After taking in the eerie scene, Phil notices a tarp and a fire next to a campsite about 20 yards away from the notes and the dead duck. Staying as far away as possible from the campsite, he continues making his way up to a shelter. Although this next part wasn't caught on camera, Phil then reported that he saw two women coming down the trail with their dog, asking him if he had seen the guy who was leaving the creepy notes and dead animals on the side of the trail. When Phil mentioned he saw a campsite and a fire a few yards away from the notes, the woman got scared and asked him to walk back to their car with them. Thinking it was probably a good idea to move as far away as possible from the campsite anyway, Phil went back with them and then started hiking in the other direction to find a safer place to spend the night. Fortunately, the rest of his hike to the new shelter was a lot more uneventful for Phil, and once he got there, he was able to set up a camp for the night, light a fire, and enjoy his dinner miles away from the disturbing notes he found. A few minutes later, once it got dark, Phil decided to go into the shelter and check out the camp log and see some of the notes and stories other hikers had left behind, and that's when things get extremely creepy again.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. I hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. Hiking again finally. It's nice and little trail
Bro,
magic.
what?
Ah, some comics and writing and stuff. Alright, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Hold on, I'm adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
Even though the shelter where Phil's currently staying at is more than 2 miles away and on the other side of the road from the previous one, the handwriting in the camp log is exactly the same as the handwriting that was on the
Bro, you
notes
need
and
to go
garbage on the
home,
other side of the
bro.
road.
Just go
This
home.
is pretty disturbing in itself, but it gets even more so when Phil starts to actually read some of the content in the logbook.
In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail. What the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15 through 9. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary.
Kind of scary.
Kind of weird. Those women down there said they were going to call the police on the guy. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of Little Mrs. Wolf. Content. Come up with some more of those wicked schemes, JB and company, so I can show some more of your true character.
The fact that there's a
If you're going in the woods all alone, bro, and you run into like some crazy creepy notes, would y'all still stay there? Would you still stay there, bro? I would have been gone. This dude's crazy.
convicted felon walking around the woods leaving dark and weird notes all over the place is extremely concerning, and based on the kinds of stuff the guy is writing, he's probably not in his right mind. This could obviously be dangerous for Phil, especially since it's already pretty dark and he doesn't appear to have anything to defend himself with. As he gets ready to go to sleep,
That's
in his
another
tent,
issue
Phil walks
right
back
there.
to the shelter once more, where he finds half a Gatorade bottle hanging from a string on the ceiling with a note in the same guy's handwriting that reads, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." Understandably creeped out by yet another disturbing note, Phil tries to fall asleep in his tent, obviously a little on edge from everything that happened that day.
Or you
The
need
last
to
thing
go
you'd want to
home.
happen if you were in Phil's position would probably be to start hearing strange noises near the shelter in the middle of the night, and that's exactly what happened. While he was falling asleep, he heard something moving near the shelter, and as he poked his head out of the tent, he saw a single guy with a headlamp walking around the shelter. Not wanting to find out if it was the same
I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just
guy who had
we're
been
just
leaving
gonna
notes,
watch
he
this.
quietly made his way back to the truck in the middle of the night, checking over his shoulder the entire way to make sure he wasn't being followed. Luckily, he made it back
This
home
dude is
safely, and
crazy.
as of 2024, he hasn't uploaded another video about the strange notes he found on the Appalachian Trail. It's pretty likely that dozens of other hikers after him came across the disturbing notes and the dead duck, but we'll probably never know who exactly the guy who wrote them was, or what he would have done if he ran into any unsuspecting campers. Grizzly Gaz is a camping channel on YouTube consisting of dozens of videos featuring Gaz, the uploader, going on hiking and camping trips in the UK with his French bulldog named Fendi. In a lot of his videos, he goes camping in some pretty extreme conditions, and he often shows footage of his unexpected encounters with big animals in the middle of the woods. In April 2023, Gaz uploaded a video of a camping trip he made somewhere in the woods in the UK. The first part of the camping trip goes pretty much according to plan, with the footage showing Gaz setting up his tent and chopping wood to make a fire while his dog Fendi keeps him company as the sun begins to set. This next part wasn't shown in the footage, but as Gaz started to prepare his steak dinner over the fire, a random man in jeans and a coat approached his campsite and asked him for a beer and some food.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye. Pot boiling for some mash. And
Whoa,
visitor.
whoa.
creep.
Bro, you dead? You're
And-
cooked.
I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light in my pants.
Yo.
This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so...
Just some random crate wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
Don't think I was. I could have been.
Although the encounter with the man itself was pretty tame, it's still pretty creepy to be camping in the woods in the middle of nowhere and suddenly be approached by a random guy asking for things.
That's what I'm trying
If you
to
listen
say.
closely to what he's saying, some of the guy's sentences are a little incoherent, and he appears to ramble a bit when he talks, almost like he's kind of out of it. Later in the footage, Gaz reveals that Martin was homeless, and that as they shared their dinner, he told Gaz his story about how he had ruined his life with drugs, and how he had ended up walking alone in the woods that day. Disturbingly, Gaz
Dang.
also mentioned that while they were having dinner, he turned around for a few seconds to chop some more wood to keep the fire going, and when he turned back around, Martin had left the campsite unannounced without even thanking Gaz for the food. After the strange encounter, the uploader decided to leave the campsite and head home out of fear that the man would possibly tell his friends about meeting some guy camping out in the middle of the woods with expensive filming equipment lying around and suggest robbing him or possibly worse.
That's facts.
To
You
see
gotta
if Martin
go.
would come back in the middle of the night with possibly ill intentions, Gaz actually left a trail camera on the tree at the campsite to capture everything that happened that night. Based on his behavior, it's pretty hard to gauge Martin's intentions and know whether he was just confused and possibly under the influence, or if he had something more sinister planned that evening. Either way,
Imagine,
it's probably
imagine
good-
he stayed there, bro. I don't think he would have made it out, bro. I don't even think the video would have came out.
thing that Gaz left the campsite and didn't go back until the next morning, especially since when he did go back, his trail camera that he had left was completely gone.
Yep.
Creepy Outdoors is a channel where the uploader frequently shows footage of his nighttime visits to sketchy outdoor locations during all 4 seasons. In October 2022, Creepy Outdoors uploaded a video of a camping trip he took to an unnamed forest in the middle of nowhere, recording everything he saw as he explored some of the surrounding woods in the darkness. For the first few minutes, all you can hear is the guy's breathing, and you can't help but be kind of amazed at how brave it is to visit a dark forest in the middle of nowhere all alone, not knowing if you're going to run into potentially hostile animals or something else. As the video progresses, the uploader makes a few comments and observations on his surroundings, and throughout the footage there doesn't appear to be anyone else in the forest with him. Around 13 minutes in though, an extreme
Look, this is the last time I'm pausing, but I got a question. Would y'all do this? Would y'all do this? Like, genuinely, would y'all do this? Just go camping alone. How many of you guys do this? Let me know.
extremely disturbing sound takes the footage in a pretty dark direction.
Oh, you're cooked, bro.